Hey guys, Eddie, Nutrient Health and Fitness. So I wanted to do a little video on a couple of topics and kind of bring them all together, maybe get people thinking about some things when it comes to trying to get like a better physique, trying to feel better, trying to have more energy. And this applies to men and women. I'm going to talk about testosterone and carbohydrates, but this applies to both sides of the gender, right? So if we think about, like, I'll have men and women tell me I have my total testosterone tested and it was fine. Well, if you know anything about like blood work, you like, okay, total testosterone, cool, but free testosterone is what's important, because total testosterone is like, just like it sounds, it's the total testosterone that's in the body. Free testosterone is what's unbound and what's available for you to use. So this whole video is coming because Holly, who is recording right now, thank you, she was asking me, we were talking about immunoglobulins, and she was asking what are globulins. And I said, when you hear the word glob, like what does it make you think of? And for me, what it makes me think of is like a glob of something, right? So you have different, like I believe they are a like family of proteins in the body. So you have something called thyroglobulin, which is related to your thyroid. You have immunoglobulins, which are related to your immune system. You have sex hormone binding globulin, or SHBG for short, that comes in, again, sex hormone binding globulin. So these things like sex hormone binding globulin comes in to like an estrogen molecule and like binds to it and like it globs it up, or it does the same thing to testosterone. So this is one of the reasons why someone can have like a really healthy total testosterone. Like when I had mine tested, it was decent. It was like 630 something before I started doing TRT, and it was like 630 something. But my free testosterone was like 7.2, which is not good, right? It should have been like at least double that, if not triple that. So why was my number specifically like that, and how can you potentially benefit from this? Well, my total testosterone was okay, but my sex hormone binding globulin was really high. What causes sex hormone? What's one of the things that can cause sex hormone binding globulin to increase? Very low carbohydrate diets. Because what a low carbohydrate diet can do is take your insulin and make you very insulin sensitive, right? A lot of America's health problems and like developed countries' health problems come from insulin being too insulin resistant. So like we have way too many carbs. So people get afraid of that and think low carb is the key to health. Well, what'll happen and what can happen, so like for a functional range, meaning like the range of someone that's healthy, their insulin should be like kind of like a 2 to a 7, right? Or like a 4 to a 7, somewhere kind of in that range. If you're insulin resistant, meaning going towards type 2 diabetes, you're going to be higher than that 7, right? You're going to be an 11, a 17, a 20, right, on your insulin sensitivity, or fasted insulin rather. For Holly and I, we were doing super, super low carb. Our insulin levels were like 1.2 and 0.7. So we were like way too low. So when your insulin is very insulin sensitive from having lots of low carb days chronically strung together, when that insulin is low, sex hormone binding globulin is going to be high. And that high level of sex hormone binding globulin is going to go in and glob up and bind to those sex hormones. So what does that mean? What am I trying to tell you? Stop being afraid of carbohydrates. Not all carbohydrates are created equal. So like, you know, drinking Yoo-Hoos and Snickers, if they even, is Yoo-Hoo even a thing anymore? But like that, probably not the best ideal form. But things like, you know, oatmeal, potatoes, rice, fruits, right? These things are good for you and they benefit you. Just don't have like globs of it all day long, and try to really get, like, I would really try to push people to front load their carbohydrates, meaning have more carbs earlier in the day, because the human body is more insulin sensitive earlier in the day. When the sun is up, we use insulin more effectively. When the sun goes down and melatonin comes up, melatonin suppresses insulin release, right? So having a bunch of carbohydrates at night might not be as beneficial for you, again, at night as it would be in the morning. And plus, most people are typically more active earlier in the day. If you're like us and you're working out earlier in the mornings, those carbohydrates are going to fuel the workout. So you don't need to live off of pre-workout powders and caffeine and stimulants and all that, because you're giving your body what it needs. You're giving it think about the signal you're giving it. If you don't have carbohydrates, the body gets a signal that fuel is not abundant in the environment. So for whatever reason, we are not optimal right now. It's not safe to have good levels of sex hormones and reproduce because there's not enough fuel in the environment to fuel this body, let alone a growing fetus in the body, right? So just a little kind of FYI service announcement for people to not be afraid of carbohydrates. And just one thing to think about, again, your total testosterone, great, but what's your free testosterone actually doing? Where is your sex hormone binding globulin? Where is your insulin levels at? We can get these things tested for you, but your doctor can get these things tested for you, and it's important to know what's going on internally. So I hope you learned something from this. I hope it was beneficial. Let me know if you have questions in the comments down below, message us, whatever. I love to help. So that's all I got. Again, Andy with Nutrient Health and Fitness, Holly with Nutrient Health and Fitness, behind the camera. We love you guys. Later.